Alright, guys, good morning. Today we're going to have a little philosophical conversation, and I want to use Napoleon as our starting point. So, Napoleon and Josephine. I find him a very interesting figure throughout history. You had a man who was able to become an emperor, to carve an empire, yet was brought down by the love and affection of a woman named Josephine. Anybody who's familiar with the story of Napoleon Bonaparte knows that that was his one great love. And throughout his conquest, he would write letters begging for her loyalty, pleading for her love. He'd be able to conquer cities, yet he'd never be able to conquer himself, control of himself. And the whole time, Josephine would be with other men, betraying him. And this ultimately, I believe, was, and a lot of historians believe, led to a downfall of Napoleon. Now, why do I bring this up? Because there's been a reoccurring theme of a lot of philosophy channels that I watch. I like to hear them. It's not about woman bashing. It's not about man bashing. It's not about hating. It's about speaking truths that are a little bit hard to hear. And there's one reoccurring thing that I hear in these channels, and they're usually you usually find them on YouTube. They'll be in your suggestion tab, and you won't even know why. And it might have some, taboo image, like a woman swallowing a train. It's supposed to be that sounds a lot worse than what I meant. Like an actual real train, or a snake next to a woman, and her skin is the same snake scales to represent like Eve in the Garden of Eve, things like that. If you ever see YouTube videos like that, it's usually just a bunch of philosophy from Nietzsche. It's usually a lot of it comes from Nietzsche. But with Napoleon, he he's a prime example of when it comes to how you live your life. He and others argued that you can't have both. You can't have greatness. You can't be a one that strives for a legacy, who dreams larger, bigger, and wants more out of life than your peers, and then also have the love of a woman. Because that same fire that the woman might love in you in the beginning, that same drive and uncompromising motivation, dedication, strength that you have in yourself, no matter what, you always get back up. No matter how many times you're punched, kicked, knocked down, you get back up. That same fire that she loved, admired about you in the beginning, she'll resent, eventually grow to resent. A lot of philosophers argue that this is because a woman can't tame this kind of man. Women like, according to these videos, okay, they like what they can control. And a man who has his own rule book, his own playbook, his own set of guidelines about how he lives his own life. I'm gonna put up a gym right in the middle of my living room to the way that you conduct yourself when it comes to, if you cross a certain boundary, there's no turning back. I'm being very vague, but let me give you an example. Let's say that you go into a relationship and you say, look, I will honor you, I will love you, I will be loyal to you. But if you cross the boundary of becoming toxic, toxic as in, for example, making up lies about me, toxic as in you try hitting me, lies that maybe you cheat on me, things like that. There is nothing on this planet that you could say that will salvage this relationship. I will leave it with grace, dignity, and just go as an adult. Now, those are a little bit extreme examples, but I just wanted to give you extreme examples that you get the point. In these videos, and just because something is made and produced, philosophy, you gotta understand philosophy, philosophy, Greek, Latin, or excuse me, the Greek, to think is the studying of ideas, and not all ideas are truths. Philosophy is an interesting kind of science. It's not psychology, which psychology is not even truth. People don't fully understand the human mind. We have theories about it, but there is no concrete evidence about why people do what they do. But philosophy has even more, I would argue, abstract. It's funny how doctors and physicians and psychiatrists or whatever, they are experts in the field of understanding the mind using the DSM-4, DSM-5, whatever manual they use now, trying to use patterns as data. And yes, you can use, when you're in the pursuit of knowledge, if same with sociology, same with anthropology, same with any kind of thing that you study, patterns are evidence. Patterns do show that there is some kind of truth, but there's always exceptions. If it is not 100%, then there's always exceptions, and that one exception kind of just throws a stone in the whole, it throws paint on the painting and knocks over your Jenga set. This video, though, was talking about men, and that the more powerful a man gets, and power could be things such as confidence in himself, it could be status, it could be wealth, it could be acceptance. There is ladies, if there's any ladies watching this, one of the things that men really, really, really want and will seek and pursue, some men will get it, some will not, is to fully accept and know thyself, to know ourselves. We will put ourselves through the meat grinder in pursuit of knowing, what can we do? What are we made of? Why are we here? You ever wonder why men do what you perceive as dumb things or risky things? It's because we wanted to simply see if we could. And it's not to say that ladies don't, women don't do this, but they have their own way. I'd like to argue. I've seen women find themselves in their own unique way. But this is not a video about genders, okay? It's not going to be about the different ways people find enlightenment. It's going to be that the more that you find greatness in yourself, the more that you push yourself, the more that you can look yourself in the mirror, no matter what it is that you overcame, be it maybe you lost a bunch of weight, maybe you gained some muscle, maybe you gained some money, maybe you gained some status, maybe you earned the respect of your father, maybe you earned the respect of your grandfather, maybe you got maybe you got that job at NASA and you're going to be, going up to Mars one day. Maybe you have discovered what your life's legacy is. The more that you discover this, the more the world and women, usually romantic interest, I don't mean just women, not some stranger walking down the street, I'm talking about the people you keep in your orbit, will start to resent you. They'll be threatened by that. And me personally, all I could do is regurgitate what these videos say, because I agree with them. I agree with their thesis and their theories and their ideas on why this is. That it can't be controlled is a threat. That stands out must be hammered in. In our world of conformity, if you choose to go against that conformity, well, you're a pariah, and you'll be treated as such. I'm gonna give you some advice to some of you young bucks out there. Young buck is slang for young guys, okay? I have a pretty good idea of who I am now at my age. I'm gray. I'm old. I've seen a lot of winters. I probably don't have a lot of time left on this earth. I've seen a lot for my age, and I've done a lot for my age. I've had a lot of relationships, and every single one of them failed. What I come to realize from all that was that the worst thing that you can ever do is be unauthentic or inauthentic, untrue to who you are for the sake of keeping a relationship, no matter how invested you are into it. This, keep in mind, these are my words. Proceed with life how you wish, but the moment you compromise on something that is a core principle, is a boundary that makes you who you are, is the moment your love interest knows you're a man of words, not action. These videos that speak of philosophy say that the higher that you go up in the chain of success, of greatness, of finding purpose, the more lonely you'll become. And there's a misconception about what is greatness, what is, all this thing. It's not, and let me get this out of the way. Greatness is not money. I don't have money. I'm not rich. You don't see me driving Lambos. Greatness, I think, is a state of mind when you can know what you want to do with the limited time you have, this finite time on earth, despite whatever limitations hold you back, be it mentally, physically, injuries, be it financially. When you know what you want, when you know what you're capable of, that's the big one. When you know what you're capable of, that is what greatness is. And if you're able to achieve those things, or even when you're in the pursuit of achieving those, sometimes men will spend their whole lives in pursuit of of these things that are, the whole point sometimes is never to achieve them. It's just to live your life in a way that would ultimately lead to this. It will disconnect you from people. Your lovers, just like Napoleon found out with Josephine. This man could conquer nations, but was brought down to his knees by a woman. If you can't retain your own power, the power in yourself, no matter how much it hurts, if you kneel for the sake of love, for the sake of companionship, you've already lost. I've spent many years here in Asia. And at any moment, I'm a guest, right? I'm here at the generosity of, the countries that host me. But I'm aware at any moment, they could be like, all right, no more tourists, or no more working, or no more expats, or no more anything. This whole world could just close up and everybody would be forced to go home. And my life purpose, the one thing that I have to hold on to, the one thing that gives me meaning, the one thing that's driving me, would be gone. And yet I still proceed. I still push forward. And I would not sell a single part of my soul, integrity, my manhood, in whatever way that is, however you describe that, to keep it. And that's the same thing for women. There's not a single woman out there, and there's not a single idea of love that I've ever came across. And I've loved some really wonderful women. Still do. But I would never, I couldn't be Napoleon. I would learn from the mistakes of far greater men than me that came before me. I accept that my road is a road of loneliness, but maybe not loneliness, a road of solitude. And I think I've spoken about solitude a lot on previous videos. The first step is just accepting it. Once you accept that this is what my life will be, then the rest just becomes easy. Not easy. Acceptance is the first step, right? When it comes to anything. Accepting you have a problem, accepting that you're depressed, accepting you're drinking too much, accepting whatever. Same thing when you accept the fact that the greater you try to become, the better man that you try to become, the harder you push yourself to become something that goes against, like I said, the norm. It is a journey for one, table for one, for the rest of your life. And I'm okay with that. After all these years, a lot of attempts, I'm okay with that. So that's all I got. Just some words, just some thoughts. I was thinking about Napoleon and his story with Josephine, listening to some of these philosophy things. I hope that philosophy can give you some comfort. It was and is the most transformative, that fall under the liberal art of the university that I studied, the one that I found myself drawn to, just because I guess questions and seeking answers and the pursuit of knowledge is something that I'm always trying and striving for. I always look around and wonder why. Why is it like this? I see everybody doing and living their life a certain way, and I ask why. Why is everybody going left? Why isn't nobody walking right? Or why is everybody eating this and not eating that? Or why is it everybody is getting living their life like this, and only maybe 1% of people live their life like that? Since I was a kid, I've always questioned the plan, the manual that they seem to just indoctrinate many of us from kids, from childhood. And I'm a child of the 90s, 80s, 90s. And I remember they had home ec classes where they would have girls carry these little fake dolls, and men had to go learn how to use tools, which I think that's cool. It was cool that I think men should know how to use tools. As for the girls carrying around these fake dolls and stuff, I have no opinion on that. I'm not a woman. I let women decide on what they think's best for them. But for a guy, yes, I think that's cool. A guy should be able to change his own oil. A guy should be able to change his own tire. If you're a man and you have to call another man to change your own tire because it's flat, dude, come on. It's literally just twist off some lug nuts, swap. I mean, come on. But anyways, I'm in a very interesting point in my life, and the waves and clouds of uncertainty are definitely thickening around me. Great change possibly can be happening, and I try to look at it with defiance, with courage, and just anchor myself in the face of the storm, knowing that no matter what changes, no matter how bad it gets, emotionally sad, even if I was to lose everything I have, I'll have the strength to keep going, to not just to not fall to my knees and say those three words: I give up. Never, never. The only three words I will say is, well, I could think of two words I would like to say, but one would be, if I was going to be rebellious towards the heavens, towards fate, would be to borrow Wolverine and Deadpool's would be go F yourself, you know. But that's only two words. But three would be I deny you. I like that one better. I think Jesus said that to the devil when he was the snake and he stepped on him. I deny you. And that's what I would say to this world as it beat me down and told me, you must accept mediocrity. You must accept giving up your dreams. You must accept that you can never be great. You can never find a higher calling. I would say, I deny you. Those are my three words.